We spend all our time here. I want to make a paradise.
She redid all of it, every last detail. And she breathed life back into every room.
Are you happy?
I love you. Please, come in.
Hello.
Hello. He's a stranger. We're just gonna let him sleep in our house.
Hello?
Hello.
Did you know he had a wife?
He has pictures of you in his luggage.
What were you doing in their luggage?
What do they want?
God help you.
They've come here to see me.
Come quick!
You're insane.
You're insane!
All I'm trying to do is bring life into this house. Open the door to new people, new ideas.
I'm so sorry.
Get out of my house!
You give and you give and you give.
It's just never enough.
Mother is a 2017 movie directed by Darren Aronofsky and stars Jennifer Lawrence. It's a film about a woman trapped in a relationship with a self-absorbed author who causes her to endure one nightmare scenario after another until she finally has a complete breakdown. The thinly veiled metaphor present in this movie has contributed to some of the negative reception of the film. The characters in the film are obviously representative of characters in the Bible, but with exception of the Mother Earth, or the lead female, who is clearly representing Mother Earth. The film is very much aimed at portraying the lead male character as the husband, as God, a selfish glory hound who cares only about creating and being recognized for his creative genius. He cares little for the woman that he is married to. We're told in the movie that the house that they moved into had burned down in the past and that the mother is almost solely responsible for its renovation.
I want to make a paradise.
She redid all of it, every last detail. And she breathed life back into every room.
She's the only one shown to be working on the house, and she's the only one who protects it from intruders. We also get these moments when the mother is shown to be psychologically and physically linked to the house. She's the anima mundi, or the world soul, only the world is symbolized by their house. This mother figure is clearly missing or absent from the Bible, but depending on how one reads it, her existence can be taken as implied. If I look at the film objectively, I can say that it was emotionally potent. But looking at this from a Christian perspective, I would say that it's trash, obviously. The film Mother has moments when it shows the ugliness of humanity with such brutality that it did actually completely disarm me and bring tears to my eyes. Regardless of the message of the movie, it's hard to watch the reality encapsulated in certain dark scenes without having an emotional response to it. The fact of the matter is, we live in a fallen world, and people are suffering greatly in this world. And the film smacks us in the face with that reality. The problem that I have with the film, however, is that as a Christian, I know that the God this film attempts to place the blame on and more or less character assassinate, that God isn't the aloof, egomaniacal character played by the husband. He, the real God, partook in our suffering that came as a result of our bad decisions. He feels every bit of pain and every bit of unhappiness that we do. While I am able to recognize the film for its powerful imagery, in the end it's all just anti-Christian and pro-mother goddess propaganda. Was it worth seeing? Objectively, yes. But as a Christian, no. Now get into some of the specifics of the film. We start off with an image of a woman burning and being consumed by flames, really. The house burns down and then we see a crystal, a heart-sized crystal being placed on the stand by the husband, who is for all intents and purposes God. And at this time, the woman, as the house is being restored, the woman is being reborn, and I think that is probably the most appropriate word. This reminds me of Genesis chapter 1 in the first few verses, where we read about God bringing order to a new heaven and earth, or a heaven and earth that He just created that was in darkness. It was in darkness and void and without form. We get some time with the husband and wife to establish their relationship, and like I said earlier, the woman is the one who gives all she can, while the husband just takes as if her love wasn't enough. In fact, this is pretty much stated to be the case during the film. Eventually, a man arrives uninvited to their home. The husband immediately begins to show favoritism towards this stranger, and the wife, knowing nothing about the man, was not asked if it would be okay for the stranger to begin living in the home, and as a result of this being slighted, she begins to you begin to sort of see the relationship between her and God fall apart even more. So since the uninvited guest is clearly supposed to be Adam, I'll just call him that, and I'll call the homeowners God and Mother Earth from now on. So soon after all of this, Adam settles in. Along comes Eve, and Eve is a very troublesome character. She makes a mess wherever she goes. She's callous in her speech towards Mother Earth, and she shows very little self-control. So what Eve does is she enters God's office, and God's office, this is the place where the author writes and He creates. So this is an analogy for paradise and the Garden of Eden. And Eve enters this office, and it's Mother Earth who warns her not to touch the precious crystal that was placed on the stand. And this is the same crystal that had been placed on the stand and essentially began the restoration of the house. So Eve would return later to touch it, accompanied this time by her husband, and she accidentally breaks it this time. And so God is angered by this as soon as He discovered what had happened, and he immediately throws Adam and Eve out of His office. While Mother Earth isn't exactly thrown out of the office, she is there, and she is told by God, the God character, to leave. He wanted some time alone. He wanted to be alone, so he, in a way, put her out as well. And so what he does after this is the guy character boards up the entrance to the office. He seals it up so that no one else can go into the office again. Now Mother Earth is she's really at a point where she has had enough already of these people, and she tells Adam and Eve to leave the house, but they refuse. And after this, we notice that Eve becomes very hostile to Mother Earth. While reflecting on this, I had a theory form on the secondary identity of this Mother Earth character. Now, I could be way off here, but it occurred to me that Mother Earth could have been representing the serpent that tempted Eve to take the, quote, forbidden fruit. Only Mother Earth has spoken to Eve about keeping out of God's office, and although she was trying to warn Eve in the film, she was still the only person to say anything to Eve about the precious crystal in God's office. But it was Eve's sudden change in disposition toward the Mother Earth character that got me thinking. Why would there suddenly be this enmity between Eve and Mother Nature unless Mother Nature was the serpent? Now, I don't know if it was meant to be that way. And in fact, I doubt that it was, but it's possible that the director didn't realize what he was doing. As the film progresses, Cain and Abel enter the picture, and then, after them, numerous guests. They constantly praise God for his hospitality while shunning Mother Nature. This is clearly representing the idea that Patriarchy has created a hostile environment for the feminine, the divine feminine, which the Mother Earth character represents. So the guests get wild and crazy before long, and they end up causing this one couple ends up causing a sink to break, and this partially results in a partial flooding of the house. At this point, Mother Nature snaps and kicks everyone out of the house. This represents the Great Flood, of course, to me. And after this, God and Mother Earth finally have some alone time, which is what Mother Nature had expressed. She had explicitly said that she wanted from the beginning. So in the following half of the film, we are, biblically speaking, in the New Testament. Mother Earth is pregnant and God is going to have a son. Unfortunately for the, quote, goddess, as he calls her twice, the house becomes overrun with unwelcome guests again. Mother Earth begs God. She begs him, literally she says the words, "Make them go away." And he responds to her, "I don't want them to go away." So it's obvious to me that the director believes that the world is overpopulated by humans. Maybe this is how the elite see mankind, as a plague that is infecting Mother Earth. And I'm also reminded of the Georgia Guidestones, where one of the tenets, or one of the guidelines that they have on the Guidestones, is to maintain the population below a certain number in harmony with Mother Nature. Was it Mother Earth? Or was it in harmony with nature? I think that might be what it says. But anyway, what follows is a descent into chaos. The imagery is visceral and sometimes tear-jerking, and it leads up to the climax will probably be the murder of Mother Earth's newborn son, or maybe this is what leads to the climax. And this, of course, this newborn son represents Jesus Christ. Now, since this Mother Earth character is a representative of the divine feminine, it shows once again that the Virgin Mary is another symbol of the divine feminine. This is the point when Mother Earth begins fighting back, and the bloodthirsty mob fights her in response. God intervenes, but he only really manages to drive Mother Earth to destroy herself. She literally ends up falling down a flight of stairs into the basement, or hell, which it really represented. And after her fall into hell, she ignites a fire which burns down the entire house with everyone in it. So where we find ourselves now is the point where the movie began, with a woman being consumed by fire. But now we see God enter the flames, and he brings her up out of hell and places her on her charred bed, and after Mother Earth, with her essentially her last breath, tells him that she's given him all she can, he continues to take from her, and he takes her heart and kills her. But we see that there is a crystal. Well, he crumbles it in his hand. Inside this heart is another crystal, just like the crystal that he set on the stand at the beginning of the movie. And he places this crystal on the stand again, and the house begins to be restored like it was at the beginning of the movie, and the woman is reborn. But I mean, you literally see her just sort of reform on her bed and become, like brand new again. But this time it's a different woman. It's a new woman. And we see God confess to himself, or to the audience watching, that this is just a cycle that he needs to continue, because he needs to be able to create, because that's what he is. He's a creator, so he needs to be able to create. So this woman is like a phoenix, and she's doomed to burn herself to ashes again and again. And in this process, this continual process of destruction and recreation. And so this symbolism, I notice, is reinforced by the many octagons placed in the film. I was noticing they were on the floors, and the shape of the windows, and even the house might have been an octagonal shape. I believe it could have had 8 sides. If we were able to get a view of the whole house, we probably would have noticed that the house had 8 sides. And there were also diamonds present in the movie as well, which is a symbol of the sacred feminine, or the divine feminine. But mostly there were octagons placed everywhere, and the number 8 symbolizes the new beginnings, and it's the infinite cycle of death and rebirth. Think of the Ouroboros, or like the phoenix, like I mentioned earlier, and think about the 7 days of creation, and on the 8th day, that was a new period, a new era. So there are 7 days in a week. The 8th day is a new week. The number 8 is also an infinity sign turned on its side. Once again, I can look at the symbolism objectively. That's what I try to do. But I also have to look at this as a Christian and say that, in my opinion, the movie Mother takes all the wrong lessons from the Bible. It's really sad that the director is so misguided, and he doesn't recognize the truth about the God that he is making a movie about. And it's sad that he doesn't realize that this God is that no one could possibly love him more than God does. As John 3:16 says, we all know what it says, but I'll read it again. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever should believe in him, or whosoever believes in him, should not perish but have everlasting life. It doesn't get much simpler than that. But I can see the way the world is going. They worship the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever, as Romans 1:25 says. Nothing changes, there's nothing new under the sun. We're just seeing a return of the old religion. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. So, while I don't feel like I can do much with all my limitations and my weaknesses, if I could just manage to raise awareness among Christians that the so-called goddess is dangerously overlooked, that would be better than nothing. With that, I'll bring this to a close, and thank you for watching. May our Lord Jesus Christ bless you all.
But who is this goddess of the pentagram? Could this pentagram really be a symbol for her? So now we know that the five-pointed star, the blazing star, and the goddess, Isis, are symbols of Sirius. So here you see we have the five-pointed star on Benedict Hall, and the five-pointed star is connected to Venus, because Venus actually makes a five-pointed star every 8 years when viewed from Earth. It makes a perfect five-pointed star. But Venus is also, well, sometimes it's known as the morning star, and sometimes as the evening star. But Venus is also symbolized by the shell. So this will explain to you why Texaco and shell. So here at the Statue of Columbia, just in case you thought the pentagram was too normal, there's the shell of Venus, just to her other side.
Let the brother receive the light.
The Masons call it receiving the light. We're going to talk a little more about this movie in the next clip. This is from hell. So the candidate stands in the embrace of the 5 points of fellowship as the worshipful master directs his gaze to a five-pointed star standing between the two towers of Jachin and Boaz, and behind him a skull and bones. He is told to look to the two columns in the five-pointed star and know that these are a symbol of Venus, the star of the morning. She's known as the eye goddess. Interestingly, ayin in Hebrew, and this all goes back to Hebrew, is the devil card. In the Bible, the star of the morning is Lucifer. Sometimes it's put as son of the morning, star of the morning. And you see here the definition of son of the morning, star of the morning clearly signifies a bright star, and is most likely what we call the morning star, Venus. So Lucifer is Venus.